skills are very, very important. And the sad thing is that the modern day human being does not know how important skills are. I meet a lot of people nowadays, and they don't have much of a skill, you know? There's people who, I don't want to diss anybody, but like at school, there's a music class, you know? I practice music relentlessly all the time. And with these people, they don't. They don't practice music that much. And the problem is that, like, they're not exactly the best at it, you know what I mean? They still make a lot of mistakes, the timing's off, and it shows that they don't respect their skills enough, they don't practice enough, you know, like, they're not dedicated. Why are skills important? Skills are so important nowadays, and the reason why people don't do those skills is because they're not disciplined. They'd much rather spend their time watching Netflix or whatever the hell that they just want to do, which is interesting because that is how a modern human being actually works, you know? They want to delay the good stuff because, like, the actual good stuff, you know, like the disciplined, the stuff that takes work and it's boring. They want to delay that because their brain can't really, they don't want to do it. They listen to their brain. And that's a problem, okay? That in itself is a problem. That's why building a skill is important. It gets your brain to kind of focus on that bit initially, you know? It makes it realize that, okay, like, I do have to practice this kind of work in a way, you know? You're basically practicing hard work when the majority of people don't. It's already above a lot of people when you're doing that, you know what I mean? Because already you're setting yourself up for, like, a better future by doing that, you know? And by that I don't mean, like, oh, suddenly millions of... Well, unless you can use that skill to make yourself millions. Like, what I'm saying is that it's giving you a better future because you're just going to be happier because of the skill, you know? But, like, of course it's not better by, like, the better you want, you know what I mean? But with this kind of thing in mind, with skills, right? Skills gets you, like, it kind of gets you set up for something, like, makes you... I kind of forgot, actually, which is very sad, but, you know, it gets your brain to expect more to do in the future, you know? Like, in Tony Robbins' book, this is actually important. This is how a lot of people actually manage to escape death, you know, even though they're meant to be dead already. So, in Tony Robbins' book, Awaken the Giant Within, there's this, I forgot his name, but there's this movie director guy, you know, 106 years old, and he doesn't expect to die because he's already, like, focusing on the work that he's making. He's focusing on, like, producing more movies, and you know, and it kept him alive for a long time, and I think he's dead now, but, like, yeah. But he was constantly doing that, and it actually, like, helped him stay alive more, like, longer than he should have been, you know what I mean? And that's because he had something to, like, look forward to. When you stop, like, people die after retirement because they don't have anything to look forward to. They're not working anymore, so the brain just shuts off. I don't know how it works. It's just weird. But the reason why that's important is because with depressed people, they need that stuff. Of course, they don't just suddenly die. Just suddenly die. But, like, with depressed people, it's that they need a skill, because if they don't build a skill, they can't have anything to be proud of. What Joe Rogan said once is that in his worst days, right, he was constantly depressed, suicidal. And what happened to him is that he started martial arts, and he actually found something that he was good at. He stopped that belief that he was useless, because he actually found out, like, a skill that was really good at, and it helped him in the future, because that's how he was able to defend himself in confrontation. He had the confidence to say, no, back off, you know, because he could actually fight back if they actually resist. And that's interesting, because you do see a lot of depressed people don't have hope in what they're doing, you know. They don't see hope, but when they have a skill and they realize they're good at it, a little bit of hope is made, and that little bit of hope can change someone's life forever. It's actually insane. And basically, it gives them something to look forward to, basically. So it stops them from thinking about wanting to kill themselves, you know, like, that kind of starts to remove itself, even though it'll still be there, but, like, it'll be less, because they're like, oh, I got a performance, or I got to practice this song, I got to make a song, you know. Which is why skills are so important in the first place, especially for depressed people. So if you have a depressed friend, get them hooked on, you know, a skill, like, go play the guitar, or, like, whatever, go draw, you know, like, it shows that they're good at something. Except drawing's a difficult one, because it could be kind of lazy, not lazy, what? It wouldn't make you, you know, you wouldn't be, like, you wouldn't stand out at all, you know. because it's not really that good industrially in like in terms of like money, I guess. But you can still make loads of money off of it. You know, go be a modern Picasso. Now, for those who don't have schedule, I did talk about those who like they had skills to work on, but they didn't work on it because they're too busy with pleasure. If you work on a skill and work on it hard enough, it gives you like a schedule for the first time in your life, and that is an important skill in itself. Because when you're building a skill, you're building multiple skills in your brain, and that's one of them. You know, like able to build a schedule and to look forward to things. You know, and that's very much like something you should look forward to. You know, like because without that skill, you can't exactly plan out your days and be like, oh, I can't. You know, you just be lazy. But when you're building a skill, you need to go like, okay, tomorrow I have to work on YYZ by Rush on the bass, which is something I did like a couple of years ago. that was crazy. I loved that so much. But like, that's something very important about skill building is that you're able to able to make a routine because you're like, okay, I need to do this tomorrow, blah blah blah. And that's something that actually managed to keep me together when I was young, you know, because I wasn't happy at all and I had the bass and it actually gave me something to work on. I was like, okay, this is great. And it kept me semi alive, which is great. You know, like, and by semi alive, I mean like how if you don't have a skill and you're kind of unhappy, you're kind of going to not, kind of going to slip away and not be like, what's the term? I'm trying to think of it. If you don't have that skill, if I didn't have that skill, I would have been really lost, you know. No aspirations, you know, and I would have had worse habits, you know, worse habits than what I already had, you know, which is very bad. And, you know, that skill kept me up, you know, kept me going and being happy, you know, even though I wasn't very happy back then. But that's basically how important that scheduling is. You know, like playing the bass kept me focused in a way, and that's the important part. It keeps you focused. It actually improves your focus because you're like, okay, I need to do this tomorrow, and you focus for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. That's what I always did, like tons of hours. I was so passionate and sunken deep into it, and that's why I should learn a skill. You know, like I have a friend who's depressed. Like his family's horrible, but I remember karate and martial arts was able to keep him like from like being lost. Like that stuff helped with his depression, and it's like so lovely to see that a skill has such a massive role in his life, and he's almost black belt. It's actually insane, and that's basically why skills are they're so important. They're just so important for that reason. Skills keep you from being depressed. Write that in your notepad. Skills keep you from being suicidal, And with the focus part, when you do that skill repeatedly, with focus is that you just get better at being focused, and it helps you. Like, I was very focused because of that. I was able to focus better than anyone else in my class, and they're like, "Oh, you're just better." No, it's because the reason why I'm better is because I focused on focusing. There we go, focused on focusing, and it kind of shows, like it's just lovely being ahead of people, man. I love it. But also, another reason why it's great, when it's a routine, is that it blocks out your bad habits. Like if you're constantly working on skills every single day, you would care less about the bad things, like, oh my god, I'm touching myself. Don't do that. It's like, of course you might still do it, but like, it helps you stay away from that thing because you have more important matters to go towards. You know what I mean? Which is why the military is great, because it's shifting your focus, and it's the best way to stop an addiction because you've just been placed in a boot camp. You're like, okay, do this, do that, And if you plan ahead once you leave the military and to do those same activities every single day, your addictions will be stopped. Ooh, easy, It's a great plan. So that's why skills are very important. Very, very important. People don't realize it. You can be ahead of the modern human being by just learning a bunch of skills. And that's what I love doing every single day. Like, when I was 15 years old, I always focused on learning skills. I wanted to be ahead of everyone else. And it's just, goddamn, man. That's so cool. I was doing bass, moved on to guitar and drums and then vocals, and then I started focusing on writing and just attention in general. And now I'm focusing on this. That's something very few people will ever do, because they're still stuck in their heads going like, I don't know what to do, man. I think I'll just be a psychologist or something. No, that's too hard. I think I'll just be you know what? I want to be a mechanic because it's easy. Do you really want to be a mechanic? You're not focusing on something. You're not focusing on being happy. No, don't focus on happiness. Not focus on being passionate and purposeful. You know what I mean? You're just choosing something that's not gonna benefit you. You're just gonna be unhappy and like you're gonna be like, oh, this was a terrible decision. Kids, remember, make the right choices. But hey, that's the mental advantage. We help you win. That's the reason why that's our slogan. It's not some thing that's meant to catch your attention. It's something that's meant to suggest you something, Or maybe suggesting that we are designed to uplift you and your beliefs. Not your beliefs, actually. We're trying to change that, okay? But we're trying to change it to like something else. And that's the entire point of this YouTube channel, is to get people to change their mindsets and to focus more on mindset and to become better or richer, Mindset does apply to business as well, which is something that's very important to us, okay? That's my purpose as a human being. Alright? Have a great time. Subscribe.